Is Supraland 6 inches under worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome everyone to episode 155 of 1 Hour 1 Decision. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, is 6 inches enough?
I guess it depends on whether it's over or under.
Yeah, so we are going to be talking about six inches under of Supraland, developed by Supra Games UG. I don't know what the UG stands for, but it sounds maybe underground.
Could very well be.
This game came out in May of 2023. I played this on the PC, although I played it, but I didn't play it. I played on PC on Xbox Cloud, which was, of course, as always, zero space on my hard drive. But if you were to install it, not that bad. 2.57 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
On the Series S, it is ever so slightly larger. 2.7 gigabytes on the Series S. And I did install it on mine.
Okay, so I guess size does matter on the Xbox. So
it does.
So what kind of game is this?
I put first-person platform puzzle.
Yeah, I simplified it a bit. I did first-person adventure game, but yeah, you're definitely platforming. You're definitely puzzling in this game. But yeah,
it doesn't feel like I originally was going to do adventure, but because there isn't really combat, it felt like almost like a disingenuous to say.
Okay, that's fair. But only reason why I thought of adventure is because like the way that the scenario gets set up.
Yes.
In that way, it's an adventure.
I will concede.
Okay.
All right. So for my game loop, I have collect coins to buy upgrades so you can navigate the environments and solve puzzles to progress.
Yeah. I feel like we just jumble our words together here. I just put solve environmental puzzles and collect coins to progress.
Yes. Well, I felt like I needed to get coins to get powers so that I could solve the puzzles.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But perhaps, it's a chicken and egg kind of argument, isn't it?
I would say so. But we both have our valid points there. And now we need to talk about our valid likes in this game.
Okay. I think it goes without saying that this game is very bright and very colorful.
Yeah.
And it like pops. It's got,
totally.
It's one of those games that because of its art style, I think it will age all right. I mean, maybe not the best, but it has a distinct style to it. And I always think that that's better, than trying to go for realism and falling flat.
Yeah. I thought that this game, it was funny because I agree with you that it has a cute presentation. Your characters are very, the closest thing I would say is like Gumby.
Yes.
And that's probably a throwback for people who's like, who the heck is Gumby? Like, I don't even know.
Look it up.
Look it up. Once you see Gumby and once you see Supraland, you'll be like, okay, I get it. So yes, very claymation style looking characters and cute presentation. It gave me, especially that very first area, gave me feelings of grounded because I didn't realize. I was like, oh, what's the big deal about this? And then as you look up, you see that there's a human up there. And you are a very tiny being in this little Supraland world, and so that was kind of cool to just to experience that and give me in a positive way. And I agree. Like I think they did a good job of, especially since you're all underground. Like if it was still out in that larger world, it might not have been as great looking, or it might not have aged as well. But because it kind of like you're underground, you're kind of like in their world, so to speak, and you don't have to deal with all that other nonsense of rendering and photorealistic people and stuff like that. So there's that. For sure. I thought that this game, while like you did mention, this is a puzzle game, first person game. There were times when I was playing this puzzle game that I was like, wow, this gave me some good, like the sense of like an aha moment a lot of times in this game. And And that was good. I like the fact that you could do that and not like have a, not have the feeling that you're going through the motions. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, I put as one of my little bullets here that there's very little hand holding.
Mm-hmm.
And so the game is very clearly designed as a puzzle platformer.
Right.
And you can't handhold someone through a puzzle game. Otherwise, there's no game.
Right. That's
so I did appreciate that, and I appreciated that it allowed for those aha moments, the revelations.
Yes.
I thought it was pretty cool. You touched on it. The environments do a good job of representing scale.
Mm-hmm.
It has very much grounded. And if you don't know what grounded is, but do know what Gumby is, then you'd probably know what Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is.
Yeah.
And it's that same vibe. It's, you're very, very small and the human world is very, very large.
Very, very large.
So a AA battery is bigger than your person,
mm-hmm.
right? That sort of stuff is interesting. It's and the game carries that through,
right.
For the puzzles and things like that.
Yeah, and I will say, like with the puzzles and stuff like that, you learn to interact with the environment, which is kind of neat. There are certain times where you carry a matchstick and you're like, cool, what do I do with this matchstick? And then you see there's a fire. You go to the fire and the matchstick lights up, and the matchstick can burn. I'm spoiling some puzzles, but here, burn some materials, and it's like you learn about that, and it's cool. It's kind of cool that the game in a way gives you an opportunity to play, to discover and play, play with the environment, and that's kind of cool that they took the time to do all that stuff. I see it in your notes here too. It is a first person game. But I am so glad that I not only can I see my feet, my Gumby feet, I can see my Gumby body when I look down, and that was great. I was happy to see that because, to be honest, it is pretty important for you to be able to see your body and feet in this game because of all the platforming that you do.
Yeah, first person plus platforming can be a real challenge.
Yeah,
and so having the ability to see your feet. It even made my likes, where I was like, Chris is going to be very happy that he could see his feet here.
Yeah.
Shows that after 154 episodes, I'm starting to understand you.
There you go. We both kind of touched on this too. The game does have a good sense of humor. And, right from the beginning, there's some ridiculous characters that you meet. And even just kind of the dialogue that is presented throughout your playthrough, at least in this first hour, was kind of tongue in cheek. So I appreciated that.
Yes, ditto for me. The game knows how kind of dumb it is and absurd, and they just run with it. And I think that if you're gonna make something absurd,
right,
you've got to run with it. You've just got to embrace the silly and just go full force, full steam ahead.
Absolutely. Now we need to go full steam ahead with our dislikes here, Tom.
Oh, well, I want to say one more thing that I liked first.
Okay, go ahead.
I appreciated, and this maybe goes hand in hand with the absurd humor, that the way that you heal yourself is to add more clay to your character.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
I appreciated it. Like if you take damage and then go to like the healing station, it's you just adding more material to your body is how you heal. I thought it was funny, but also made a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean it does. It absolutely does. And if you're good, I can roll into our dislikes.
Yes,
then.
No, go for it. Unless it happens to be one of your dislikes, because that would be funny to me.
Well, no, it's my dislike really is the fact that I felt like I didn't get very, very far in this first hour. I felt like I was running around in the same area trying to figure out what the heck was going on, and I don't know. I mean, it might be just because I'm a big dum-dum. I've got a riverbed stone smooth brain like that. I don't know, but it was getting a little frustrating. Like I know I mentioned that there was definitely moments of aha, but there was also a lot of lulls where I'm just like, all right, what do I have to do now? What am I doing now? And I don't like as good as the environment kind of shows you where things are, like what you could interact with. There's still a lot of times where I'm just like, I have no direction whatsoever. And it's funny when you press start, like you can go to the options menu, it even like gives you like, hey, if you get stuck, don't forget to look at the objectives up on the top right. I'm like, I have no objectives. So what am I supposed to be doing here? So really, really frustrating because of that. And yeah, that's what I wanted to start off with right off the bat. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like you need at least some kind of hand holding. A lot of my dislikes here were me just being confused. Yeah. I wrote, am I made of lead?
Yeah.
The basic jump sucks,
yeah.
And so does its upgrade.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had tons of annoying jumping puzzles with no clear directions. So thank God you can see your feet, because if you couldn't, I don't know that I would have made it through an hour.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, with that, the controls, my goodness, like if the whole point of this is supposed to be a platformer, like a puzzle platformer, but they just didn't feel great. Like you just felt very floaty. I felt motion sickness at certain points because it was just like, what is going on?
Wow.
Because you were like you were sliding, you were floating. It was just like, it made no sense to me. And yeah, that was really, really disappointing. I will say that. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the coin collecting part of it. And I feel like there was other sound bites in this game that I could probably pinpoint that sounded very similar to a red hat wearing plumber. Is it red? It is red hat, right? A red hat wearing plumber from Brooklyn. And it was very odd.
No idea. Who are you talking about?
I don't know, but it was
That's not an Xbox character. I don't know who that is.
It's not an Xbox character. I'll tell you that much more. But yeah, it was really weird that they sounded exactly the same. I don't know if you caught that, but it was like, what's going on?
I guess I did not.
But yeah, that was very odd.
Okay. Speaking of sounds, right? I'm going to use that as a segue here. There's no voice acting.
No.
Right? There are some grunts and some yelps, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. I would say, like, overall, I thought the audio just wasn't great because, like, even with the grunts and all that stuff, just it didn't. I don't know. I didn't like get a sense of my spatial awareness. With it, because I was just kind of curious. I watched your playthrough near the end, and you definitely got a lot farther than me. And you mentioned like getting to the hospital and stuff like that, but like when those enemies were attacking you, I don't know if you had a sense of like where they were spatially from you, because they were just like you would hear the noise, but like it didn't seem like that's where they were coming from. And I could see that being very frustrating very quickly too.
It was incredibly frustrating because I was being attacked and there was no way to defend myself.
That's right.
So if you're going to have enemies have the ability to combat in the game,
right,
you should give your player the ability to combat in the game. That's not cool. My only option was to run away.
Yeah. Unless it's like a horror game, I guess, where they try to limit it. But.
Sure, but then that's what the game should be. Like,
right.
I'm supposed to be solving puzzles here, not fighting things.
Yeah.
And if fighting things is part of the game, then you need to explain to me how to fight the things before, there was also, that reminds me, no obvious way to review the controls.
Oh.
Or at least I did not see it. And there were lots of instances where the game, kind of Metroidvania style, where there's something that you can't access right now because you don't have the ability to do it. But the ability seemed like something obvious I should already have, like maybe the ability to squat.
Yeah.
Why do I have to buy an upgrade to squat? Like, that's a basic control.
Right. It seemed very EA of them to be like, you want to squat? Well, you got to pay up some coins for that. And it was so ridiculous. I agree, because I was clicking the left stick thinking that it was going to be there, and it wasn't. And then I was like, why are all these coins like buried under these things if I can't get to them? And then of course you see the guy who is your kind of gatekeeper, Mr. EA or whatever you want to call him. But he's like, oh, you got to pay up to learn how to crawl. I was like, okay, well, I guess that was their way of forcing the coin collecting onto you. I don't know. But.
Yeah, it felt very, I like forced you in a very particular direction.
Right.
And it's a game that seems to want to reward exploration.
Right.
But it at the same time kind of basically punishes you. It's like, go out there and collect 10 coins, and there are like 50 coins in the level, but there are only 10 that you can collect right now.
Yeah. Right.
So go collect those specific 10 coins. We're not going to tell you which ones they are.
Right.
But you'll figure it out because you won't be able to crawl, and you won't be able to double jump, and you won't be able to do this or that.
Exactly.
And so once you've exhausted yourself and have collected 10 of the ones that you can collect, come back here so that you can purchase the ability to crawl so you can collect another 10.
It's a bloody shame. Shame.
As a cycle, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating. Any other dislikes here, Tom, or shall we get our other thoughts here?
I may be nitpicking, but I will mention a couple of other little things. NPCs clip into each other a lot, at least I saw in the console version, which speaks to a lack of polish. Like, we're in the first hour of the game. Like, I would think you would catch that. Right. Like, and also, like the menu system and stuff like that have mouse controls, even on the controller.
Yeah.
And that is a major peeve of mine. Like, don't do that. It's not.
Just don't do it.
It's not a good experience.
No.
The controller has a D-pad. Let me cycle up, down with the D-pad.
Right.
Like, I don't know why I'm controlling a little mouse to hover over to click on something.
Yeah, it seems a little lazy there, to be honest. And I don't know. That's I noticed it, and I was like, well, I started off playing on my PC, so I was like, oh, mouse is fine. And then I went to xCloud, and I'm like, oh, I'm still playing with the mouse, but just on my controller. So I can definitely see how that could be a frustrating experience. There was a puzzle as I'm thinking about it. Not a puzzle, but like there's like a lever that you and I got to. I know because that was like near the end of my playthrough, where it was a lever, but it was like on a ledge, and like at least from the rest of the game, you had to be physically next to the lever to then pull it or whatever it is. Whereas this one, you just jump and then wait for it to be highlighted and click it. And I'm like, what is that? Why? Like, it just felt like it just, I don't know. It made no sense in the world. But yeah, like just little things like that were a bit frustrating with this game. And yeah, that's all I have with my dislikes here. But
to be fair, there were quite a few between us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, you're right. And shall we get to our other thoughts here?
Sure.
All right. How long to beat does say this game takes about 8 hours to complete. So fairly short experience. And this is, like I mentioned, I did play this on xCloud. It is Xbox Cloud capable, and I believe your saves carry over. So that's always nice to have. And anything that you got there, Tom?
So I did a little research. This was originally designed as DLC for the original Supraland, but the scope grew out of control, and so that's how it became a standalone game. And you see that, sometimes in the gaming industry, where something begins life as DLC, and then it's like, oh, this thing has legs.
Yeah.
So there were 6 people involved on the development team for this, and each of them is responsible for like 1 or 2 regions of the game, which is why it feels pretty experimental. It was kind of designed to be for them to learn the software and to work on the next iteration of Supraland, a Supraland 2.
Got it.
But as these people were being onboarded and building levels and learning everything, I guess the content they created, the higher ups felt like, oh, no, that's good enough. We can pack this together and ship this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah. And again, I was surprised that this game was an Unreal Engine game.
There you go.
Well, and speaking of games that were initially DLCs or whatnot. A game that we played early for the game, or early for the podcast, Forgotten City. Remember that one? That was a Skyrim mod, and now it's a full blown game. It was a great game too, so you guys should check that out. Yeah. So, Tom, we need to find out: are we keeping this on our respective hard drives, or at least in our xCloud playlist of sorts, or are we going to leave it 6 inches underground?
I would like you to go first, Chris.
Okay. Fair enough. I didn't get very far, and I didn't feel like I wanted to either. So it is a pass for me.
Well, Chris, I don't have patience for Metroidvania games unless I'm heavily invested in the setting. So is a game like Jedi Survivor gets a pass, on those sorts of elements because it's Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
This game is even more frustrating because it's in first person.
Yes.
So you've taken a genre that I'm not a big fan of. You've made it harder by making it first person. Frankly, I'm glad my hour is over and I don't have to play this anymore. It's already off my hard drive.
Yeah.
Good riddance.
Yeah. I'm. That's a shame because I've heard. I mean, Supraland, at least with the original game, seems like it's like a Minecraft competitor or something. I don't know. We'll never know because we're not playing that game. It seems like, but yeah, that's like I don't know where this idea came from, but good on them for trying at least, and maybe hopefully they'll learn from this and when they build the next game.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right. So those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter at TC1H1D or shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And if you're watching this on YouTube, send us a comment down below and we'll try to respond as best as we can. And we are part of that lovely QTV network. So if you like any other cool gaming content, be sure to check out Quit the Build on quitthebuild.com/network.
Yes, sir. But before we go, I need to know what I need to play for episode 156.
Ooh, me too. And we are going to find out right now with the surprise me button. Here we go. Ooh, this might be a throwback, but hopefully available for both of us. Alice Madness returns.
I'll go dust off my 360.
Let's go do that. And that's the beauty of Game Pass, though. You can have access to all these kind of older games and check them all out. So that's what we're going to be doing. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this episode, and we will catch you in the next one.
Thanks, everybody.